This presentation is for the chosen ones of our God, for them to know and understand the appointed times that their God has set concerning them. We are going to discuss Yahuwah's appointed times. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1 to 4, there is written and it's revealed that for everything there is an appointed time, even a time for every affair under the heavens, a time for birth and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot what was planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to wail and a time to skip about, a time to throw stones away and a time to bring stones together, a time to embrace and a time to keep away from embracing, a time to seek and a time to give up as lost, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to rip apart and a time to sew together, a time to keep quiet and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. So, the God of heaven who made the heavens and the earth, Yahuwah being his name, has an appointed time for every of his activities under the heavens, especially with regards to his chosen people Israel. He has also appointed times for the things he counseled, the things he proposed, and the things he foretold from long ago, from the beginning. These things must take place at his appointed times, because the decisions and the counsels of our God stands forever, even from generation to generation, that we may know that he alone is God and there is no other. So the visions and the prophecy of our God are like the hand of a clock that is moving and rushing towards their appointed time for their fulfillment. Our God has carried out many of the things he foretold, but yet there are still old and new things he foretold to bring about at their appointed time. Some of the things that our God foretold we can see at Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2 and 3. There is written, and Yahuwah proceeded to answer me and to say, write down the vision and set it out plainly upon tablets, in order that the one reading aloud from it may do so fluently. For the vision is yet for the appointed time, and it keeps panting on to the end, and it will not tell a lie. Even if it should delay, keep in expectation of it, for it will without fail come true. It will not be late. At Isaiah 42 verse 9 is written, the first things here they have come, but new things I am telling out. Before they begin to spring up, I cause you people to hear them. At Isaiah 65:17 is written, for here I am creating new heavens and a new earth, and the former things will not be called to mind, neither will they come up into the heart. But exalt you people, and be joyful forever in what I am creating. For here I am creating Jerusalem a cause for joyfulness, and her people a cause for exaltation. So things our God foretold through his prophets are trustworthy to come true. They are all waiting, rushing to their fulfillment time. They will not be late. For example, our God foretold of creating new heavens. There is new ruling power over the earth and righteous human citizens. This new Jerusalem will be a cause for joyfulness for Yah's people of Israel. Unlike the old Jerusalem, which suffered complete destruction by the hands of the Romans, understanding God's appointed time for what he is doing will help us to wait patiently until the vision's time to be fulfilled. So Israel, Yah has an appointed time, a time to give birth to his nation Israel. Deuteronomy chapter 32 verse 6 is written, "Is this the way you are? You should treat Yahuwah, O foolish and unwise people. Is he not the Father who caused your existence, the one who made you and firmly established you?" Deuteronomy 32 verse 18 is written, "You forgot the rock who fathered you, and you did not remember the God who gave you birth to you." Exodus chapter 4 verse 22. "So you must say to Pharaoh, this is what Yahuwah says, Israel is my son, my firstborn. I said to you, send my son away so that he may serve me. But if you refuse to send him away, I am going to kill your sons and your firstborn." At Isaiah chapter 63 verse 16 is written, "For you are our father, although Abraham may not know us, and Israel may not recognize us. You, O Yahuwah, are our father. Our purchaser of long ago is your name." So Israel, your birth as a nation is because God caused you to be born a nation when he chose you as his people. The birth of a nation, Israel, that is you, from cradle to the grave, that is you. Our father Yah is the one that caused the birth of Israel as a nation when he brought out our forefathers out of the house of bondage in Egypt and made them exist as a nation. Yahuwah gave Israel life as a people for him. He also gave them his laws and righteous regulations to keep and to live by. Yahuwah's appointed time, a time to die. Yes, excuse me. Yes, it was also foretold. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 17. Verse 17 to 22. It shows how Israel incited our God to anger And because of that, God rejected Israel because of their sin. And the scripture is written in Ezekiel 18 verse 4. Say, look, all souls to me they belong. The soul of the Father, also the soul of the sons. To me they belong. The soul who sins is the one who will die. In Romans chapter 6 verse 23, it's written, for the wages sins pays is death, but the gift God gives is everlasting life by Christ, Yahushua our Lord. So, our forefathers and all Israel sinned against Yahuwah our God. Therefore the whole nation will be put to death or put out of existence. For that is what is written. The death of a nation. Israel lived from the time they existed, from birth around BCE to until the year AD 70. Why did Israel die? Or why did Israel become dead as a nation? At Micah chapter 1 verse 9 is written, for her wounds cannot be healed. It has come as far as Judah. The plague has spread to the gates of my people, to Jerusalem. Therefore, at Matthew 23 verse 27 to 29, when Yahushua came to inspect the nation, he cried out, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, the killer of the prophets and stoners of those sent to her. Say, how often I wanted to gather your children together, the way a hen gathers her chick under her wings, but you did not want it. Say, look, your house is abandoned to you. For I say to you, you will by no means see me. From now until you say, blessed is the one who comes in Yahuwah's name. So, our God turned his back against Israel, for she could not be healed of her errors. Since she could not be healed, what will follow is death to the nation, because she could not be healed. There is also Yahuwah's appointed time, which is a time to plant and to sow Israel's sons as seed among the nations. These things were also foretold. For example, Genesis chapter 15 verse 13, our God in advance told Abraham, then he said to Abraham, know for certain that your offspring will be foreigners in a land not theirs, and that the people there will enslave them and afflict them for 400 years. Deuteronomy 28 verse 64 and 65 is written, Yahuwah will scatter you among all the nations, from one end of the earth to the other end of the earth, and there you will have to serve gods of wood and stone, which you and your forefathers have not known. You will have no peace among those nations, nor a place of rest for the sole of your foot. Rather, Yahuwah will give you there an anxious heart and a failing of eyes and a feeling of despair. At Leviticus 26 verse 33 is written, And I will scatter you among the nations, and I will unsheath a sword after you, and your land will be made desolate, and your cities will be devastated. At Jeremiah chapter 18, verse 17, is written, like the east wind, I will scatter them before the enemy. I will show them my back, not my face, in the day of their disaster. So it was foretold to that Abraham's descendants will be uprooted from their land and taken to a foreign land where they are to be mistreated and enslaved for 400 years. They will be scattered among the nations for their errors. So Israel was sold or scattered among the nations and peoples. And this is the fulfillment. At Matthew chapter 13, verse 37, Yahushua, when responding, he explaining this parable, he said in response, he said, the sower of the fine seed is the Son of Man, and the field is the world. As for the fine seed, these are the sons of the kingdom, but the weeds are the sons of the wicked one. So the sower is the one that scatters the seed, that sows the seed. So Yahushua is the one that sowed the seed, or to scatter the sons of Israel because of their error. At Luke chapter 21, verse 20 to 24, it's written, however, when you see Jerusalem surrounded by encamped army, then know that the desolating of her has drawn near. Then let those in Judea begin fleeing to the mountains. So let those in the midst of her live, and let those in the countryside not enter into her, because these are days for meting out justice, in order that all the things written may be fulfilled. So woe to the pregnant women and those nursing a baby in those days, for there will be a great distress on the land and wrath against this people. And they will fall by the edge of the sword and be led captive into all the nations, and Jerusalem will be trampled on by the nations until the appointed times of the nations are fulfilled. So here, Yahushua, the Messiah, is alerting Israel that it's time for this scattering of the people of Israel because of their errors among the nations. And he gave them the warning that when they see Jerusalem encamped, they should know that it's time for the desolating or scattering of Israel. So Yahushua the Messiah is the one that sent by Yahuwah to do the scattering of the sons of the kingdom into all the nations. And this took place since AD 70. There is also Yahuwah's appointed time, which is the time to harvest or to uproot or bring in what is sown. And Israel, that is you, that was sown among the nation. There is also an appointed time for our God to bring or gather Israel back to where they belong. Genesis 15. Let me read Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 1 to 7. There it was foretold, it said, when all these words come upon you, the blessings and the cause that I have put before you, and you call them to mind in all the nations where Jehovah your God has dispersed you, and you return to Jehovah your God and listen to his voice according to all that I am commanding you today, you and your sons with all your hearts and all your souls. So Jehovah your God will then bring you back, will then bring back your captives and show you mercy, and will gather you from all the peoples where Jehovah your God has scattered you. Even if your people are dispersed to the extremity of the heavens. So from there, Jehovah your God will gather you and bring you back. So Jehovah your God will bring you into the land your forefathers took possession of, and you will possess it. And he will make you prosper and will multiply you more than your fathers. Jehovah your God will cleanse your heart and the heart of your offsprings, and so that you will love Jehovah your God with all your heart and all your soul, and you may live. Acts chapter 14, 15 verse 14. Now, Jeremiah 29 verse 14. It was foretold, I will let you find me, declares Yahuwah, and I will gather your captives and collect you together out of all the nations and places to which I have dispersed you, declares Yahuwah, and I will bring you back to the place from which I caused you to go into exile. So, Yahuwah, our Father, has an appointed time to bring back or to gather back Israelites back to their land where they were scattered from. He has an appointed time for harvesting the sons of Israel that he scattered among the nations, the vessels for his mercy and splendor. The harvest time is when the sons of the kingdom are gathered. But when will that be? At Matthew 13, verse 39 to 40, Yahushua explains that the enemy who sold them, the weeds, is the devil, and the harvest is a conclusion of the system of things, and the reapers are angels. Therefore, just as the weeds are collected and burned with fire, so it will be in the conclusion of the system of things. So when will the harvest begin? Hosea chapter 6, verse 1 to 2 shows that after 2 days of punishment on Israel, or 2,000 years, is when the harvesting or gathering back of the sons of the kingdom back to their kingdom will begin. But keep note, it says that the harvesters or the reapers are angels. There are other scriptures that are out here, but you can read it at your own time. So the weeds, which are invaders of the land of Israel, are to be gathered first and destroyed. Then the wheat is to be brought into the barn, which is the sons of the kingdom. But all these have to take place at their own appointed time. Our God also has an appointed time to separate and to kill off the wicked which is the worshippers of false gods. For example, as Ezekiel 20 verse 8 is written, "But they rebelled against me and were not willing to listen to me. They did not throw away the detestable things that were before them, and they would not abandon the disgusting idols of Egypt. So I promised to pour out my rage on them and to unleash my anger fully against them in the land of Egypt." Verse 33, "As surely as I am alive, declares the sovereign Lord Yahuwah, I will rule as king over you, and with a mighty hand, and with an outstretched arm, and with an outpouring of rage. I will bring you out from the peoples and collect you together out of the land where you have been scattered, with a mighty hand, with an outpouring of outstretched arm, and with an outpouring of rage. So I will bring you into the wilderness of the peoples and enter into judgment with you there face to face. Just as I entered into judgment with your forefathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so I will enter into judgment with you, declares the sovereign Lord Yahuwah. I will make you pass under the shepherd's staff and bring you under obligation to the covenant. But I will remove from you the rebels, those transgressing against me. I will bring them out of the land of their foreign residence, but they will not enter the land of Israel. And you will have to know that I am Yahuwah.